we going on the recording?
Good to go.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's website call. Hope every one of you are in good health and feeling a bit of chilled around the weather. So we have a good number of participants already on the call, and we have a healthy agenda item to go through. So, let's start off with the, greetings that we do for the newcomers. Do we have any newcomers on the call today? Anyone who is attending the website's call specifically for the first time or have not yet introduced themselves to the community?
Hello, Nikhil.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not my first call, but I was supposed to join this call. There were kind of like websites regarding so that I could contribute regarding UI. So I joined. So I guess this is the right call, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every call is the right call. It's just for you to take care of.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So do you mind go ahead and giving, considering you have already introduced yourself, so I would pardon you from that request, but if you have not, you can go ahead and take the mic.
Oh, I already did. Okay, I don't mind. So hello, I'm Tata, and I'm into UX designing, so user experience design. So I'm currently exploring to contribute UX design into open source projects. So that's about me. Like why open source is because the thing is I can be able to communicate with the folks with different cultures. And second thing is I would get networking. So that's the thing. And third is fun. So obviously fun. So yeah.
Nice. So rest assured, the 2 points that you mentioned, that too you would definitely get it. So yeah, hoping for a good time for you. And considering you're a UX designer, we already have a lot of things going on. So I'm pretty sure you would find something or the other to get started on.
Yep.
Cool. Anyone else? Do we have any newcomers who want to go ahead and introduce themselves?
Oh,
okay.
Just after you, Miss who just joined as of 1 second ago. So how terrible for her. I'm not. So Abilpasa.
Hi.
Hi.
It's
Hey.
Abhilupsha.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Abil. No problem there.
And then, no, it's fine.
Wait, Abil.
You can call me Abel or anything that suits you. It's fine. I know it's a big name, kind of sometimes difficult to pronounce. So it's fine.
I appreciate that because I'm, if you consider my first name, I can go about as far as 3 letters, and then after that, it starts to get difficult for me.
I do understand.
You said sometimes you go by Abil,
yeah.
or Abil.
Yeah, anything.
Okay, Miss Sahu sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, very good. We might have to stay with that. That one's pretty okay. Good. Well, hey, thanks for letting me screw up your name and be so kind about it. You just happened to step onto the call right when Nikhil, who's hosting the call, was saying, "Hey, if you're new here, why don't you just take a moment to introduce yourself and say hi and why you're here or what your favorite color is?" And we were just going through that, and I think you might be the last one. Well, we got at least one other after you. So yeah, do you mind just saying hi?
Sure thing. So hi everyone, I'm Abhilupsa Sahu. I'm currently pursuing my BTech in computer science engineering. I'm in my 3rd year. I'm also a software engineer intern at UnoTag. So it's basically a startup, and I have previously contributed to open source. I have previously contributed to Moja Global. I have contributed to Nobu, which is a notification infrastructure, and many more like Spotify and all. So I'm really looking forward to contributing to this amazing community and give back and also learn something new. So I'm pretty excited, although I'm like really, really new.
That's wonderful. That's great. I'm trying to not to say anything because I'm waiting for Nikhil to take it back. We do have one other person. Now that I said that, geez, Ashish Tiwari, do you want to introduce? I'm not sure if you've gotten a chance to introduce on this call before.
Introduce myself.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Hello, everyone. This is my first time joining this call. And I mean, I'm maintainer here at Meshery. I mostly I'm involved in most of the backend stuff, Golang related things. So I'm not much involved in UI, but there was some issues in the Layer 5 website, so that's why I'm here. I'm also an employee here at Layer 5. So yeah, that's about me. If you want to contribute to anything Golang related, or if you want to contribute to GitHub Actions or CI/CD stuff, end-to-end tests, these kind of things, there is a weekly call. There is a bi-weekly call actually. It happens on Thursday. It is this Thursday. And I host that call. That's pretty much about me.
Nice. For a minute, I thought we have another Ashish Tiwari joining us, and it's not the usual Ashish Tiwari that we. Okay. So yeah, I think that would be all for the welcomings. Let's go ahead with the agenda items. Starting off with Arunima. I think it's your first up, right? Do you want to take up this time?
Yeah, so just you can go to the PR link. My problem is that the build is not working and I cannot find where the error is.
So what error are you seeing?
The website build and preview part, it is not working and I cannot understand what the error is. I was working on adding Utkarsh Mishra's member profile in the Layer 5 website.
Okay, I think the issue is not with your changes, but it's in general with the master branch that, yeah. So what I can do is I can take a look at the changes that you have made. And
Okay.
if it looks good, I will leave and merge the PR.
Okay, thank you. So do I need to make any changes then?
I will take a look at the PR.
Okay, thank you.
If I see any of the issues, I will report them.
Yeah, thank you.
And regarding that issue, I think we would be coming up to that next itself. So you would get to know what's the issue. Apart from that, any other thing you have to discuss, Arun?
No, the next is in the Meshery that appear. I was working about Layer 5. No issues I have to.
Okay, so we will come up to that as well. Cool. Okay, Lee, I think you have the urge to go ahead and talk, so I will let you.
Yeah, maybe if it's okay, maybe I'll share my screen and sort of introduce this topic.
Sure.
All right. There is so Arunima was just pointing out that she has a pull request open on the layer5.io website. Speaking of which, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sites. Wow, 10 sites and or like rich applications. So this one is and actually depending upon how you break it down, there's kind of playground. I just wanted to take a quick inventory. That's oh my goodness! Thank goodness there's a bunch of people on the call because there's a lot to keep up with. So good. If you're here on the call and you aren't working on something but you want to be, let's take care of that today. There's a ton of things to do. One of the things to do is to highlight the efforts that people have poured into the CNCF project Meshery. So Meshery, it has a bunch of its management software. And so it will integrate with a bunch of different, well, a bunch of different things that anything that touches Kubernetes, basically. So it manages Kubernetes, and then any CNCF project that's on Kubernetes, which is related to why we're bringing forth a playground for people to, well, easily use Meshery, but not just Meshery, but any CNCF project. And so there are hundreds upon hundreds of integrations that Meshery has with all of those different projects. And right now we're, for better or worse, like tracking which, I know this is a little bit small. It's okay if you can't read it. It's not the point. Right now we're tracking what all systems Meshery integrates with inside of this spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet, we say like the name of the system, like Cert Manager, for example, and what type of piece of software Cert Manager is. So it's about provisioning under the subcategory security and compliance. If you're familiar with Cert Manager, well, it helps mint and rotate certificates. So certificates sometimes for SSL, sometimes just for identity, like one containerized service identifying itself to another. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let me not digress into what Cert Manager is. Let's say that Meshery integrates with all these things. And when it does, we briefly describe the integration and the value that users of Meshery might have if they were to use Meshery and Cert Manager together. And some of these integrations are not fully described. So there's a bunch of contributors in the community who are helping fill this in and get all these integrations documented. Until they do, some of these are blank. And if they're blank, it might mean that that page isn't ready to be published. So what happens from the spreadsheet is that all these descriptions of the way that Meshery integrates with these different pieces of software, it all gets kind of built into, well, right at the end here, it gets built into a YAML file. This YAML file ultimately gets put into the layer5.io website. So when you go to the site, right now, we're in a very degraded state on the site. So if you go to the main page, it will say that it will show you 4 integrations, 4 pieces of software that Meshery supports. And that's not the case. Like this spreadsheet goes on for about 500 rows. Not all of these are fully supported yet. So it's about 200, about a little less than 200, 170. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Meshery's, like, it is more like the 500 that Meshery supports. It's just that we haven't fully described all of them. So only like 170 of them are fully described and ready to be published. And yet we're only showing 4 on the Layer 5 website. Hence our issue. So, and hence Arunima's challenge in her pull request not building. This section of the site is broken, and which then affects other areas of the site. We don't dare try to publish each of these pages individually. That's just a lot of copying and pasting. I'm not sure about you all, but do you all, like when you do the Control-C and Control-V, do you put your thumb underneath and like hit? Anyway, my thumb gets tired after about 100 of those. So we just can't, we gotta have this automated. And so Ashish Tiwari has spent a lot of time maintaining Meshery. And one of the things that he's done recently is write a workflow, a GitHub action, that grabs a copy of this integration spreadsheet and downloads it, sifts through it or filters through it. It pulls out the information and updates the Layer 5 website with that information from the spreadsheet. And the script that runs this workflow, that performs that task, is this one here. And so we're not here necessarily to talk about Golang on this call too much. It is relatively straightforward Golang, so even I can comprehend it. We do, want to take just a moment and say, Ashish, a couple of changes have been made to this recently in a good way. I think to just try to get it to only publish that final column full page.
Yeah, actually, the comment that basically the things that you commented out, these were not being used. These were being used in the previous iteration, but when I changed the full page to just fetch that column, then I didn't comment those things out, and I just left them there. So yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, got you. I think everything seems to be happening correctly. Included in that spreadsheet are icons. So an icon for each, or a logo or an icon for each of the projects that Meshery integrates with. And so it's a little hard to read, but Meshery will write out that SVG. It'll write that. I'm sorry, not Meshery, but this script will write out those logos so that logos for each individual integration can be represented on the website. Great, and they have to follow a certain naming convention, and so they do here. Ashish, I think that there's only one residual, or I hope I don't mislead us, but I believe that this is the issue, is that this script will run, publish 170 something folders and entries, but the YAML or the line returns inside of those files, I suspect is what's causing the site to stop building. And so I think part of that can be demonstrated if so this is the layer 5 IO website. It's just checked out, and I'm looking at a section of the site under the source, the collections. There's just a large collection for all of the integrations that Meshery has. Right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these sitting in here. If we build the site, which I think I just did a moment ago, let's see how many integrations show. And okay, so well, none, because the site crashes as it tries to go through there. I think, Ashish, maybe that introduction to the problem and kind of potentially pinpointing where we're facing our last challenge is maybe as much as we want to troubleshoot with everybody on the call. I don't know that it's a good use of everyone's time. I think the reason that to justify why it is that I am highlighting line returns inside of the YAML file as potentially being the last standing challenge, like the way that those line returns are represented in ASCII, is if you have a working copy of the site. So these first 4 integrations are building correctly and the site is running correctly. If you run the script and just grab, one of those integrations, paste that folder over here and rebuild the site, things break. If you open up this index file, this YAML file, and don't change anything, but just save it, which is to say, like, get it reformatted. If you think about what would be reformatted as you were to just save the file, well, hidden characters that you don't necessarily see or aren't shown, like you aren't shown the NL or the /n or the ASCII or the 22 or however the carriage return, the line return is being represented, internal to the document itself.
By the way, if you take the exact content of that column and you paste it over here, does that fails the build? Or, I mean, if that's successful, that means that there is problem in the utility. If just pasting this, if manually doing this doesn't break.
Yeah, that's a great. So here's one for Argo. It says that it's ready. So I'll copy. Here's this Argo one, so I'll paste, because this is the same one. It has the same references. I think that we might face one challenge at the moment. Maybe, anyway, I'm pressing save. When you all, if any of you, there's like 300, about 350 people that have contributed to the Layer 5 IO website, which is great. So maybe some of you on the call certainly have. And some of you might yet to, and you don't have to. If you do, you'll find that when you do contribute to a lot of the sites, you'll find that the make commands that are used to build the websites, most often, once they've run and they've built the website, they'll just sit there with an actively, with a server that's actively watching for any changes to the file system. So if you're, as you're contributing and you make a change to the code, it should rebuild just that portion of the site and update like a locally running web server. All right, so there is one thing that we're seeing as an issue. This was something that I had recently changed, having to do specifically with the fact that we're running Gatsby. Man, boy, this is a super long topic, and I'm sorry for this. Try to get off of this as fast as possible. That we're running Gatsby, and when we configure kind of Gatsby we get it all configured, and we tell it like we're going to use GraphQL and we're going to query these different YAML files, these different collections. Well, do you have any special types of attributes, like types of front matter attributes that you have? And depending upon, like my limited understanding is that if you were, that you can create your own types of attributes. I'm going to save this, rebuild. All I'm saying here is that, like when we look at this Argo integration, we're describing the integration. And part of what we describe is the fact that, oh, we have a logo for Argo. Here's the colored version. Here's the white version for dark mode. And, and all the info. And sometimes maybe we don't have a white version of the icon, and my understanding is that when you write GraphQL statements to query information from over a collection like this, that you'll likely find if you query for something like doc URL and it's not present, you might run into an issue like this, and saying it doesn't have a value and things are going to break, that you can specify the type of property that you're looking for, or what is this? Like, what does integration icon mean? And I just quickly said that it means a string, and string types are nullable, meaning that if it just so happened that I hadn't specified this, at least the GraphQL query shouldn't break, or hopefully. But I'm going to pause there because if someone else knows better than I do, maybe you'll correct me. But that's why I made a change. So I'm just going to take the local URL. I'm going to bring up an incognito window in Chrome and visit the locally running port, which may or may not. So here it's trying to respond back. It's going through. And it is saying the dark mode integration field must not have a selection since string has.
Technically, we shouldn't be assigning, a type string to dark mode integration icon or the integration icon. The reason being, we are querying in GraphQL those particular fields as an image type. So since we are querying them as an image type, it has subsequent subfields such as, the Gatsby image property, Gatsby image sharp subfield, for example, that we get. And under that, we have constraints for the image type that we want to render. I think commenting it won't work, or removing it, because you will need to restart the server. I'm not sure if you just did that.
I did while you weren't looking.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, if you did, it should work because it has some. If you go to sections/it, you will find that code where I'm referring it to. Just a second. Sections, Meshery. Then under Meshery integrations, we have integrations grid, right?
Integration grid. All right. So
Yeah.
right here.
A bit scroll down. Yeah, there is an integration icon query field, and underneath there is a sub image that is child image sharp. So basically, GraphQL is getting that field as a image type, and it is querying for a sub field that is child image sharp. So it expects that field to be of image type and not of string type. That's the reason it was saying.
And so I removed those two specifications that specified integration icon and dark mode integration icon as string, saved, restarted. And I believe that each of the 5 integrations that are in here, I think that they all have a value for their icon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that they all have icons as well. Yeah, that's the proper formatting.
Okay, it references the file which it's giving there. Can you go to that particular file?
Oh, okay, yeah, this one doesn't, by the way. Or this is just, I'm going to change this real fast, okay. But after this, we should probably continue with the rest of the agenda so that we don't just see. Color, white, color. The last one, color, white. And then you were saying also, by the way, instead of just hunting around like that, it does help identify where the problem is.
Yeah. Is that the and if you scroll down on the terminal, like to the end of it, what's the latest error that we are getting? Okay, so it's complaining about the dark mode integration. So some of the index.mdx file still is using it as a string. That be the case.
Got you.
Anyways, so I think we should be able to work that out. Like, we should be able to get it working again. That shouldn't be much of an hassle. If you have some changes, you can make a PR, like ping, tag me on the PR. I'll take a look and see what could the changes we needed, and I'll push the required changes if so, or comment it out, whatever could be.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So, second. And yeah. You're back. Oh, yeah, that was a bit of a stretched out debugging session, but I think some of you, if not all, might be able to get some of it what we were discussing. So let's hop onto the other topic. Yeah, Anurima, you have another topic about the modifying navbar. So I think you were telling me that about something previously.
Yeah, so I'm just leaving the deploy preview on the chat so that everyone can have a look at it. And should I share the screen?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so this is how the navbar is looking now. In the earlier meeting, we had a discussion to remove the border and add a box shadow so that it looks better. And after I made the changes, I think Kamal also advised me to remove the space and to make the width 100%. So like any idea about that? Because the width is already 100%, as you can see here. And if I want to remove the space, then I have to bring this div element inside this, I guess. I don't find any other ways to remove this space from here. And Any other comments about this PR?
So you're saying that particular icon is taking up the rest of the width of the screen?
Yes, so just like I think in the PR, Kamal reviewed the PR and he said me that this space it can be removed so that it looks better. So to remove this space, I have to bring this div inside here, inside the nav menu container, because the width of this, as you can see here, it is already 100%. So if I want to remove this space, then I have to bring this div thing inside it. So, and like any other ways we can do it, if any other suggestions.
That shouldn't be the case because the UI that we have for meshery.io as of now, along with the switcher or the toggle icon, that's the same for layerfile.io as well. And I think for layerfile.io we are showing the mobile view as a full width, but the icon is not inside the menu. So
Okay, so like how can I just make remove the space and make this full width? Any ideas?
not instantly, I would say, but I could take a look. If anyone else has anything which they have handy, they could share.
Yeah, so like if you have a look and let me know how can I do that, would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, Krishna Gupta is a good one to ping. His laptop's having a hard time right now, so he's not on. But just in case you don't hear from Nikhil today or tomorrow.
I think it's more of a CSS issue going around on the site. Like looking at what the deploy preview, it's like that particular the complete header is taking up the whole width, and it should rather only be the drop down that should take the whole width.
Yeah.
So playing a bit with the CSS might help, but I will take a look and see what changes are required. I will comment on the PR.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
I have a question. So I guess the toggle, what are the toggle we have used over there? That might be disturbing the entire CSS.
Yes, basically the toggle is outside. See,
Yeah.
here is the toggle, and if we put the toggle inside this div, then it can be a solution to this. But if there is any other solution,
I feel like we can just move the toggle to the before the menu so that the problem can be solved and we can have 100% width to the entire drop down. Or we can have we can move the toggle option to in the landing page or just on the navigation bar. We can have some kind of like a switch or something.
You said before the 3 horizontal icons that we have for the menu opening, right?
Yes.
I don't think that is needed specifically. Like even having the icon at its where it is right now, we should be able to achieve what we want. So that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, and just to recap, just to make sure that Dada's suggestion is to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly. I think Dada, you're suggesting that hey, a potential solution is to place that toggle on the left hand side of the menu.
no.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, that's the solution. Like I suggested.
Anyways, while we are around that, I think the icon for the toggle icon also needs to be updated. Like if you click on the toggle icon as of now, it's still the same, just with the filter. It should rather change to a moon and then a sun for dark mode and light mode. Do you mind opening a new issue for that?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I can open a new issue right now.
Sure.
So should I stop sharing?
Yeah. I will take a look. It should be possible with the V that we want it to be. That shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah,
An update on the V. Okay, so moving ahead. we have the retheming of the Meshery Docs website. I saw in the last meeting there were a lot of feedback given regarding the possible issues that needs to be handled. I'm not sure if we have Krishna on the call today.
Yeah, no, he's not.
I think we don't have, yeah. So I don't think we have any updates around that. So, okay, let's skip it to the next topic. Discuss forum integration using mesheryctl tag. Casey or Lee, do you want to take that up?
Yep. So if Leonard is in a good spot.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Sorry. So I've not really like on the okay. So I wanted to discuss about the leaderboard on today's call. Sorry, I can't share my screen. I'm actually on mobile. So I had a discussion with Lee regarding the leaderboard, the current leaderboard, and I think we came to a conclusion that we should have the leaderboard on all our websites, including the meshery.io, the layer 5, and he talked about also having it on docs.meshery.io, a lot of them. So, and how like I would create a PR for these issues as well. So, but then just for context, I think I have to join my PC and then I would share my screen to show the people on this call what the leaderboard looked like previously, so that we could actually like probably get some feedback and then a call for participation, because that is basically what I want to use this avenue to do. So just please give me a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want to.
Since we only have 20 minutes left, I'm going to go ahead and share it for you. So here's I'm just sharing your post.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to share the current or the UI of the leaderboard we had previously.
Oh, sure.
So let's give me a minute.
So this topic is not related to leaderboard, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it ends up being the same. So I think there's a misconception. I mean, like this whole topic it's like kind of old and somewhat tired at this point. Is like there's a lot of people on the call who don't have the history here. And so you very briefly, for those of you that are on the call, if you haven't seen discuss.layer5.io, this is one of the sites that you all have created. This site is a discussion forum. It is underneath the covers. It is an instance of discourse.org. So you might have a sense that there might be kind of a familiar feeling to the forum because it doesn't look too dissimilar from what you see here. This is just an open source project, Discourse. There's many different places that will use it, and we're using it here. So you all have themed it and added in custom plugins and et cetera. And so, and many of you spend time on here and asking questions, answering questions. Wonderful. It's so much better that it is done here than in Slack. In Slack, we lose the history. People can't find it. We can't highlight and celebrate people who are asking questions and people who are answering questions and people like, and so that's what Casey is talking about. He's talking about trying to help get people pointed at relevant information and also highlight the fact that there's activity going on. So you'll hear the term leaderboard being tossed around as like, hey, as like an example leaderboard is, hey, who are the top 10 for this month or for all time? Who are the top 10 people who are answering questions? Who are the top 10 people who are asking questions? Or which posts got the most views, or there's just a bunch of statistics, right? All kinds of statistics to potentially put out there. There's other non-leaderboard type things, like maybe if you're on the docs.meshery.io site and you're looking at I don't know, like how to build Meshery UI, for example. Or maybe you're looking at Meshery CLI and you're wondering, how does this completion thing, I can't quite get it to work. What's going on? You're looking here. Well, there's a lot of white space on the right-hand side over here. It might be nice if all of the posts that were on the Discuss forum that use the tag mesheryctl or Meshery, like this one, gosh, there's a lot, or there's quite a few. Well, some of these might be answering the question that people are looking for. And so this particular page, like /tag/mesheryctl, it's readily available as JSON. There's a bunch of JSON that you can just HTTP get from the site. There's a bunch of it that's just public. Or we can handcraft some and make them public. And so what Casey is hopefully is making a call for is to say, for each of those other 9 websites that we have, it would be good that any of them or all of them are somewhere making a reference, either highlighting people and their activities or just helping point people to relevant information. And so that's the...
Sorry to interrupt you, but your screen is not visible. We are only seeing your Figma screen.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah. So I think I'm on PC now, and I have to share it if just to you.
Sure, go ahead. If you've got it up.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So for context, the community decided that the discuss.layer5.io has really lacked engagement from users, and this is because people come to Slack and decide like Slack is the right place to ask and answer questions. Why this is not good and great, it's hard to track who to help at times because there are so many channels to check and there are a lot of things to like popping through your face. So our discourse forum is where these discussions are supposed to be going on, right? And this thing, in as much as we know that this is a selfless service trying to come to help people, we actually wanted a way we want to recognize those people who actually try to help others drive engagement. If you know Layer 5 well, you know that we actually have recognitions for people who wants to help others grow in their own technical journey and open source journey as well. So this is just like it's actually a code, but it's the HTML of how our leaderboard would look like. This could actually be improved because it's a code of a pictorial view of how our leaderboard would look like. So we had some metrics on how we calculated this point. So when you're asking questions, you're getting a point. It was actually referenced in the last post that I made about the leaderboard in the discourse. So when you're answering a question, you're getting a point. When you're posting a question, you're getting a point. When you have is your answers get accepted as solutions, you actually get a point as well. So these things will actually foster more collaborations among the community members, among the community. And then we'll have like a central place where we'll answer questions and questions get answered as well. Question gets asked as well. So we wanted to embed this on the leaderboard, but I actually found out that our newcomers don't actually come here quite as often as the old members, and they go through the other sites like maybe Meshery.io and Layer 5 websites. So the call for participation, we want to have this leaderboard built in some of our project, our websites as well, and then put there so that it more like aside helping booster collaborations and recognize people who are helping the community, we would also like have a way to showcase to the newcomers or to the community members that, oh, hey, there is actually like reward in trying to help others, right? So this is not like trying to play down on anybody who doesn't really come to help people, but you know, the open source community is really about giving back, right? So this is why I'm calling for participation to have this leaderboard built and to have these recognitions for the community members as well. And we have this proposal as well that every week we get like an email notifications of the top performers of the leaderboard, right? Like the top 5. The whole community would get will get like an email of the people that performed. This would actually like booster the encourage other people to go maybe the next week and try as much as possible to actually help others and contribute as well and ask questions. So we want to really bring the whole discussions we have on Slack, a lot of discussions and questions we have on Slack, to the discourse forum. So everybody should like, and that is why sometimes you see me reposting questions from discourse that, okay, please, we need help, and somebody should go answer these questions. We have an API that records all your activities on the discourse forum. So building out this leaderboard would be quite helpful to actually track progress of community members. So that is the point of the leaderboard at this point. And we have so many APIs, and we could use them to do other things on other of our projects, other of our website as well. So Lee would maybe explain things better if this is not clear enough. But yes, this is the reasons I decided that yes, we need this leaderboard to be up and running. I'll be honest, in my own eyes, I failed because yeah, we are supposed to build this thing quite a long time ago. But yes, there are some unsurmountable blocks that we had embedded on the main leaderboard forum. And the refined idea is actually quite better because now we'll have it in so many other places that would be thrown at you when you first get introduced to the community, right? So aside your technical contribution, we also see how you're actually like appreciated and seen among the community members. So yes. So yeah, Lee, I'm done.
Perfect. That was perfect. Yeah, I hope it's fairly clear. So, like, one way of succinctly saying, "Hey, this is," I don't know. To me, this is like it's a good opportunity for everybody because there are 9 other sites that could use a leaderboard like this or a tag. Just a list of related posts on the forum, or there's, yeah, anyway, all you have to deal with then is JSON, that you use JavaScript to HTTP get the JSON and then mark it up in whatever form you think looks good on that site. There's Leonard has pointed out that, a number of the sites run on Jekyll. A number of them, or some of them, are React based, and there's probably some reuse that can happen, across the sites. And there's some UX design that could happen as well. This is a great mock-up of what it might look like to have, I think, a leaderboard. In this case, it's maybe sorted on number of solution points offered. Embarrassingly, someone put me at the top. I don't know why that would be, but let's be clear, it's just a mock-up. So, so we can make believe that I would be number 1. That would be, but like, as a matter of fact, like, it's one of those things for you all to think about as well. It's like, well, what else might like to be called out? Last 5 most recent unanswered questions. Like, hey, 5 unanswered questions.
Actually, like, we can have several, multiple tables on that particular page, in which each table would represent a different kind of section. For example, as you mentioned, top most active community member of the month, that would have a separate table, and the ranking would be based on that. Or the top voted post of the month, that would have the table with the post link and the author name, so to say. There's 2 columns for the table. But yeah, that would make the page much more interactive with much more data also. And in all, at the last column, so to say, like, the total points could have a help, or the question mark icon, info icon, basically, to let the user understand, okay, on what basis the ranking is been done or the points is being assigned, so that they could get an understanding, okay, why are they not on the leaderboard and someone else is. So that would help.
That's actually nice. So thank you, Nikhil. This is the reason we actually wanted to put this thing out here. So what I have to do is I'll probably create a doc for ideas. So you could send any you feel to my direct messages. More like I create ideas as well to see how better to fit this leaderboard. I want us to do this, and then in as much as it's eventually going to be more refined, but then we want to actually build out something that when we put out there, it will actually encourage and motivate community members to go ahead and keep contributing and keep building and keep doing their selfless help to every other person that comes to the community. So please, I would appreciate every regardless of how dumpy my sound, I would appreciate every idea that you have that could make this look better. And I will actually be opening up an issue in most of the websites that will need this leaderboard on. Everybody is welcome to contribute, and we could have some sort of group calls to, or anything, or maybe a chat to keep this started. I don't think there's any point to waste time. We already have the API. It's just maybe looking for a better UX or UI than building out the whole thing. So I think with that, the leaderboard should be like a thing of the past in a few months to come. Like this discussion would just be actualized and everything would be up and running. So I had this idea of, okay, I wanted to ask, this leaderboard would be in real time, right? Like we have more like a socket that updates in real time, or should it be updated like intervally, maybe in the midnight or something? Because that is actually like something to consider. If we have to have it in real time, maybe have some socket that checks if there's a new data and updates the current leaderboard, or if you have to like run it intervally. I would want to get that. What do you think, performance wise? Which one do you think is better?
I think Discuss already provides all the needed API for this kind of leaderboard. You just need to make an HTTP call to them, and it would update the table real time. You don't need to make a schedule based updating for them.
Okay, so the table updates every time you load the page. Is that what you say?
Yeah, basically it's not. Yeah, you could say that. Like if there's, suppose I opened a post right away, for example, right now, and if you go ahead and open the leaderboard, then on the leaderboard that data would be updated altogether right away. Okay, because it would fetch the data at the real time.
Okay, so the consideration for asking these questions are, imagine if you have so many number of users and like we don't know how fast that would happen. So that was the consideration for like if we would have to make it real time, like once you refresh the page or not.
I mean, it is real time. It wouldn't be event based with sockets. Inside the design spec for the discussion forum, the link to which I've shared inside the Zoom chat. A discourse site like this is database driven. So most of the sites that we have are static content sites. We try not to make them feel static, but this particular site does have a database in the back end. And so every time that a user refreshes the page, fresh stats, fresh information is presented. So on those other sites, Leonard, like on the other sites, all they need to do is an HTTP GET. They'll receive JSON and you mark it up.
All right. I totally understand. Yeah. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Nikhil.
Yeah.
So I think that is all for now. Does anybody still have like an idea? Sorry, does anybody have a suggestion, a feedback, or what before we end this?
One thing I'll say, I don't know, there's a lot of chat happening and I probably didn't keep up with it all, but for Ms. Sahu and Mr. Utkarsh, two of you come to mind as folks that could probably, well, I don't know Ms. Sahu very well, and I missed her favorite color earlier, so I don't know if she shared that, but you might be able to tear through this really fast, like Leonard, like 5 minutes, man. That's what it's like, anyway, you might be able to go through it really fast because all you're gonna do is there's a bunch of this stats already out there. Just grab the JSON, mark it up. And the thing is like, you don't need to know Jekyll or Gatsby or anything. Like it's literally just putting some color on some JSON. So anyway, but there's a bunch of them. And so I think it's a really good, easy thing, a good thing for any of you to get into to do. Even inside of Meshery UI, like in Meshery UI, if you're running that project, it'll tell you information like what version of Meshery UI you're running. And then it'll say, here's a link to GitHub. If you have an issue, here's a link to the discussion forum. There's some opportunity within Meshery UI to just show people the same info. Like if they're running Meshery, if they're running Meshery and they're connected to the internet, which most of the time they are, well, in the same way, it can just get the JSON and show the same info, which could be really helpful particularly if they're seeing an issue inside of Meshery or they're not quite sure how to use something. Having the discussion forum right there at hand is great.
All right, Lee. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if anyone else has anything to add or anything to comment, feel free to reach out to Leonard or post it on the website channel on Slack. Let's go ahead with the agenda items. Next up, we have, I will come back to, next up we have Rahil Siddique. Rahil, do we have you on the call? I don't think so. Huh. Okay. So, okay. Ignoring if Rahil is not on the call, it's a PR you could check out, which we have the play.meshery.io site. I'm sure most of you have already checked in. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I think I was not able to hear properly. So are you guys talking about the PR that I made in the Meshery Play repo?
Yes.
Okay. So the issue that I'm facing is that the layout of the website is in a way that the call out thing is coming above the this form. So I have made the PR in which it's coming above this form and not below it. So to fix that, I have used the use state and use effect. The problem with that is that Nikhil already mentioned in the comment that try not to use hooks for that. So right now I'm trying to implement that, but it's kind of confusing because of the layout. So can you just check it out? Yeah, so this is how it's looking right now. Yes.
The design seems good. Just increase the top margin a bit between the call out and the text.
Okay.
Looks good.
Okay, so I need to ask one thing. So for this, I have used hooks, and in the PR, you have commented that try not to use hooks. So I was like, yeah, how can we achieve that? Is there any alternate way? Because the layout is in a way so we have one parent container, and in that parent container, we have two adjacent child, and we need to put the one child beneath the other child. So that is the problem that I'm facing when it comes to doing it without any hooks or anything.
So basically what I'm trying to say is update the flow from column to row layout. and then add a wrap. Okay, when you do so, both the text and the form should be side by side. Both assign a width of 50% to both of them. Then the discuss callout would go at the bottom. Okay, once you do so, once you assign the 50% width to both the form and the text. In that case, once it goes at the bottom, just add a position relative CSS and then a top property to move that callout just below the text that we have. That should do the trick. And we won't need to use any hooks also.
Thank you.
Sorry, you got my point, right?
Yeah, understood. So basically, I just need to put the position relative in this size is small and I give it a top and the left right positioning so that fits at it gets fixed at a particular position, and also
Right.
make it flex row.
Correct. Yeah.
Is it?
As of now, it's
Okay,
designed
cool.
as column direction. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will look into it and try to do that. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So that was that. Apart from that, I'm not sure where we stand on the service mesh patterns, that part, the last page that was pending up. I'm not sure if you have any update around that.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen activity there.
And also Botany is not on the call and he has not given any update on this.
Okay. Rest, I think everything else looks good. Apart from that, that was the only thing that was pending. Okay. Cool. So apart from that, we have the new dark mode coming up for Meshery UI. If you haven't yet tested out, feel free to test out the PR and add your comments or feedback on the PR, whatever you have. So do give it a chance. You will also be able to test out Meshery in that case. So just for the, eager to test out dark mode, you could test out Meshery as well. So give it a chance.
Actually, I want to discuss this issue. Can you please open this issue? I just posted in the chat box.
Sure. Just a second. Good. Utkarsh. Dark mode. Okay. It should be right.
In dark mode, these icons are color mode. Like we have to switch into the white color.
Yeah, it's always kind of a pain because certainly the white colored logos have high contrast with the background, and which is good. The colored logos, sometimes they have high contrast and sometimes they don't. This next part that's a fact. I guess this next part is my opinion, which is the white colored logos are quite boring. And if it's just all white, all gray and white, it's pretty, it's not very appealing. And so I always feel stuck here with should we go with something that is accessible, again, high contrast and hideous, and so I don't know if there's a happy middle ground, or maybe everything is white, but then when you hover and it has that effect, that if you hover, or I guess we aren't sharing, or I think when you hover here, it'll just show you the text, like the name of the project, but that would be also an opportunity to show you the name of the project and maybe make it color, show you the color as well. I don't know, I don't have very good suggestions, but so maybe other people do. Someone might say, well, one thing you could do when it's in dark mode, and recognizing that if it's all white, it's kind of, you don't have a frame of reference, you lose your way, it's ugly. One thing you could do is maybe leave the colored version of the logos, but add a white outline, a white stroke, or a slightly white background, so that then there is high contrast from the gray background. So. I think that is maybe the only time I've had a decent idea on how to overcome that challenge. And you can see it with the Kubernetes logo as an example. So I don't know if when you, right. So it has that white outline and remains high contrast and yeah. It is it's not always easy. Like the challenge in actually implementing what I just said is one way to do that is to modify the SVGs. Modifying other projects' logos, nobody really likes to have their logo messed with, and usually they say, please don't do that. Okay, so you could use another layer and add a background to the, or whether it's another layer or not, just that card, that card that's there could have a radial gradient, maybe, with that. There's something that can be done to help provide a little bit of an offset while leaving color, maybe. What might be also nice about continuing to have colored logos even in dark mode is you don't have to deal with yet another. Sometimes getting the white version of the logos is also a pain in the rump. And so just thoughts, I don't know.
Yeah, having a radial gradient should like help. But it's like we could iterate through various possibilities and come up to a conclusion. That's the best possible.
Sure.
Cool. With that said, I think we are already over time by 10 minutes. If anyone else has anything else to discuss, we can come up with that. Otherwise, if no, then see you all on the next website's call. Probably I won't be there. So see you all in next year. So yeah.
Thank you, Nikhil.
Advance New Year and Merry Christmas from my end. Bye everyone.
Bye.
It was good having you all on the call. See you.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.